Okay, disorder of your primary hemostasis, wherein we will discuss your qualitative platelet and vascular disorder. So for qualitative platelet disorders, okay, this is excessive bruising and manifested with excessive bruising and mucocutaneous or superficial bleeding despite of normal platelet count. Okay, suggest a disorder of platelet function. Kaya nga quality, nasa quality tayo. Okay, can be congenital or inherited or even acquired. Okay, major phases of your function affected are, of course, the platelet functions such as the adhesion, secretion, and aggregation of your platelet. So again, for adhesion, your platelet is adhering or um, touching or adhering to the sticking on the blood vessel, and even on your secretion, releasing of your granules or cellular content, and in aggregation, okay, together, platelets clumping together. Okay, so we have this various disorder in adhesion, aggregation, secretion, okay, changes in membrane phospholipid distribution, and even hyperactive thrombotic platelet. So this is the um platelet, cross-sectional, and the content. So for the dense bodies, okay, you could manifest Hermansky-Pudlak, Chiajaki-Gashi, and dense granule storage pool deficiency. Okay, for the deficiency of or dysfunction of your dense body. For Glanzmann thrombasthenia, okay, no aggregation with natural agonist, okay, for your GP1B. For your Bernard-Soulier, okay, lacks of adhesion to von Willebrand factor and abnormal response to thrombin, which is usually found in the disorder of your GP1B9 5 complex. Next is your platelet type von Willebrand, wherein spontaneous bleeding, okay, is caused by dysfunction of your GP1B complex, okay, spontaneous bleeding, binding with your von Willebrand. For your alpha granules dysfunction, it could manifest with gray platelet syndrome, Quebec platelet disorder, dense granule disorder, storage pool deficiency. Okay, on your enzymes, the cyclooxygenase, thromboxane A2, synthase and lipoxygenase could be reduced, and cytoskeleton, you could manifest with giant platelet or Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome. For Scott syndrome, there would be decreased thrombin generation from your platelet. And in the signaling pathway, your G protein and phospholipase are decreased. For altered response into ADP, thromboxane A2, and TPA, epinephrine, usually, okay, your tissue plasminogen, okay, alpha-2 and your P2Y are responsible for this. So for the disorder of aggregation, okay, you have your Glanzmann thrombasthenia, hereditary apibrogenemia, acquired defect on platelet aggregation, acquired von Willebrand, and acquired uremia. For changes in membrane phospholipid distribution, you have your Scott syndrome and then Storm-Warken syndrome. Could also have hyperactive thrombotic platelet. And for the platelet adhesion disorder, you have your Bernard-Soulier, okay? Von Willebrand disease, acquired defects on platelet adhesion such as myeloproliferative and lymphoproliferative disorder, and dysproteinemias, antiplatelet antibodies, okay, cardiopulmonary bypass surgery, chronic liver disease, and even um, drug-induced membrane modification. So, for your platelet secretion, okay, the storage pool disease, thromboxane pathway disorder, hereditary aspirin-like defect, okay, such as in your cyclooxygenase and thromboxane synthase deficiency, drug inhibition of the prostaglandin, and drug inhibition of your platelet phosphodiesterase activity. So, ito yung mga genes na affected on that. No? Let's start with your platelet aggregation, your 2B, 3A function, such as your Glanzmann thrombasthenia. This is a rare autosomal recessive disorder affecting the platelet aggregation due to the deficiency of your glycoprotein 2B3A or specifically your integrin A2 3B at P beta 3. Okay? That leads to the defect of your fibrinogen binding. So kaya nagkakaroon na yun ng impaired hemostatic flow. Okay, so hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng platelet aggregation. So what is the manifestation? Usually, um, manifest in neonatal period or infancy. Okay, common symptoms is excessive bleeding after circumcision during infancy, epistaxis or nose bleeding, gingivitis or gingival bleeding, petechiae and purpura, menorrhagia or excessive menstruation, gastrointestinal bleeding, and even hematuria. If you would notice, no, all of your qualitative uh, platelet disorder would manifest with mucocutaneous bleeding. Okay, more on mucocutaneous bleeding lang sila. And bleeding severity varies. It often decreases as we age, okay? Due to the compensation mechanism of your body. Next, for the type of Glanzmann thrombasthenia, type 1, around 0 to 5% of normal GP2B3A expression. Okay? More severe si type 1 than your type 2, which is around 10 to 20 of normal GP2B3A expression is seen. And in acquired thrombasthenia-like state, no, autoantibodies against your GP2B3A is seen and seen in multiple myeloma and apibrogenemia. This is usually induced by antiplatelet drugs. Okay? As to genetics, usually the mutation in your ITGAB2B and ITGB3 genes or in chromosome 17 is seen and over 70 mutation are identified to cause Glanzmann thrombasthenia. Okay? In laboratory findings, okay, there would be normal platelet count and morphology. There would all be also absent platelet aggregation in response to ADP. Okay? Collagen and thrombin and even epinephrine. So lahat ng agonist, wala siyang aggregation. Okay? Normal restositin induced von Willebrand binding unlike your von Willebrand disease. So sa restositin, okay, normal yung um, response niya as aggregometry and reduced thrombin generation due to absent of your GP2B3A. So wala tayong thrombin. Okay? Impairing your secondary hemostasis with thrombin. Okay, next. For the treatment, usually we utilize platelet transfusion, okay, specifically in your severe bleeding only. Okay? Risk for alloimmunization requiring HLA match platelets are needed. And hormonal therapy, okay, nor and norepinephrine acetate for menorrhagia can be utilized. Okay, antifibrinolytic such as your tranexamic acid. Okay, aminocaproic acid for oral bleeding since this is manifested with mucocutaneous bleeding. Okay. Next is recombinant factor 7A. Okay, for refractory bleeding in or in invasive procedure since your platelets are very not fan of aggregating. So we initiate the secondary hemostasis by inducing factor 7. Avoidance of anticoagulants and NSAIDs could also be a part of your management. Okay. Next is your Bernard-Soulier disorder of your platelet adhesion. So this is problems with your GP1B 9-5 complex. So this is known to be your giant platelet. At tandaan nyo, kaya GP1B, 1 lang yung B. Okay, pag GP2B, dalawa yung um, Okay, N. Laging may double, kaya 2. Okay? This is also known as your giant platelet syndrome. Okay? A rare autosomal recessive disorder affecting platelet adhesion. So kung kanina aggregation, punta naman tayo sa adhesion. Due to the defect on your GP1, 1B95 complex that leads to kay impaired von Willebrand factor binding. So hindi mo nagagamit si von Willebrand factor or hindi ka dumidikit kay von Willebrand factor that prevents your platelet attachment to the blood vessel wall, okay, impairing your platelet adhesion. On clinical features, okay, manifest in infancy or childhood, which are the symptoms includes, again, same, okay, mucocutaneous bleeding such as your ecchymosis, epistaxis, gingival bleeding, and even thrombocytopenia. Bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng thrombocytopenia when it comes to your Bernard-Soulier? Because of the giant platelets. Okay, hindi nagagranulate yung hindi nagpa-fragment yung platelets. That's why it could lead to thrombocytopenia. Unlike hemophilia, hemarthrosis and large hematomas are rare. So for genetic and pathway defects, usually caused by mutation of GP1BA, GP1B beta, K alpha beta, GP9, and GP5 genes. So GP1A, 1BA is critical for the function as it contains binding site for von Willebrand and thrombi. And mutation leads to absence or dysfunctional GP1B9 complex. We could see also pseudo Bernard-Soulier, no? That is usually caused by autoantibodies. Okay, mimicking the syndrome. Okay, kaya nga pseudo, false BSS. Okay, next is your platelet type von Willebrand disease or pseudo von Willebrand. In some mutation, it causes spontaneous von Willebrand binding, leading to thrombocytopenia and reduced platelet factor 8 activity. So findings for your Bernard-Soulier, okay, usually there would be thrombocytopenia because of the giant platelet. Okay, normal aggregation. So kung kanina normal din tayo, walang problem with the aggregation of your agonist. Absent aggregation to your restositin. Ito yung pinagkaiba nila ni Glanzmann. Okay, kasi kay Glanzmann, meron siyang aggregation to restositin and diminished thrombin response. So this is your giant platelet. Mukha siyang leukocyte, no? Specifically lymphocyte. Pero if you would notice, there would be serrated edges, no? May mga parang punit-punit yung gilid. And the nucleus is parang granulated unlike your lymphocyte na clear. For the treatment, avoid antiplatelet therapy such as your aspirin and NSAID. Okay? Antifibrinolytic could be utilized for mucosal bleeding such as your tranexamic acid. Platelet transfusion for severe bleeding, but again, it would have a risk of alloimmunization. And apheresis platelet, this is the one preferred to reduce donor exposure and alloimmunization risk. Pre-storage leukoreduced platelet is also recommended due to decreased alloimmunization, and we could utilize desmopressin as for some cases, but this is not definitive treatment for Bernard-Soulier. Next, inherited giant platelet syndrome. So for inherited giant platelet syndrome, this is a group of rare genetic disorder characterized by large platelet, thrombocytopenia, and mild or no bleeding tendency except in specific cases. Okay, unlike Bernard-Soulier, the platelet ultrastructure is typically normal, pero it would manifest as large platelet. Okay? Kasi kay Bernard-Soulier, may problem tayo sa ultrastructure, specifically with your GP1B95 complex. So for Mehiglin anomaly, okay, abnormal microtubule distribution, okay, and associated with dole-like inclusion in your neutrophil. So, ang problem naman dito, yung microtubules ng platelet. Okay? Epstein syndrome, usually the platelet are spherical. They would be prominent surface connected canalicular system. That's why this is the diagnostic criteria for this Epstein syndrome. Other IGPS or inherited giant platelet syndrome. Okay. The cause is of the large platelet and thrombocytopenia is unknown in many syndromes such as follows. Okay? Yung mga yan. Next is disorder of the secretion. So, storage pool disease, syndromic platelet disorder, and thromboxane pathway disorder. So, this usually involves the platelet release, granule release of your platelet as to the storage and a release. So, this is a photomicrograph of your platelet. Okay? So, for your letter A, merong hypo, okay? Presence of decreased uh, granules. Okay? Pag sabi naman, absence. Okay, wala. And yan yung makikita nyo. Unlike this one, this is a normal one. Okay? Madaming granules. So for dense granules deficiency, okay, defective storage on your serotonin, ADP, ATP, and even calcium and pyrophosphate is seen. So symptoms usually mild in bleeding, okay, and easy bruising is seen. And diagnostic clues, they would have or manifest normal platelet count kasi nga, anong problem natin dito? The internal structure. Kaya wala tayong problema when it comes to platelet numbers. Okay, impaired platelet aggregation. So wala tayong platelet aggregation. Bakit nagkakaroon ng hindi nagpe-platelet aggregate? Because of the absence of your granulations. Okay? And similar to aspirin effect. Missing secondary wave of your aggregation with ADP and epinephrine and even collagen. So hindi siya effective to aggregate with your agonist ADP, epinephrine, and collagen. So example is isolated dense granule deficiency, okay, Hermansky-Pudlak, and even your Chejak-Higashi. So for Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome, an autosomal recessive disorder with oculocutaneous albinism. So, tandaan niyo yan, meron siyang oculocutaneous albinism and dense granule deficiency. May have also severe bleeding disorder in some cases and increased risk for pulmonary fibrosis and colitis. Okay? Next is your Chejak-Higashi syndrome. Okay? For your Chejak-Higashi syndrome, this is a rare autosomal recessive disorder, okay? Manifesting as albinism, meron din siyang albinism but absent of your oculocutaneous. Okay? Recurrent bacterial infection, which is a hallmark for your Chejak-Higashi, and giant lysosomal granules. There could be also severe immunodeficiency with progressive neurological dysfunction. And the patient often die in childhood due to infection or accelerated phase due to your lymphocyte proliferation in your organ. Next, alpha granules so deficiency or gray platelet syndrome. Okay, so your alpha granules, which is stores protein like your platelet factor 4 and fibrinogen, is lacking. And what is the symptoms? Usually mild bleeding, thrombocytopenia, and it would manifest with large gray colored platelet, kaya nga gray platelet syndrome. Okay, diagnostic clues, lack of alpha granules in electron microscopy could be seen. Plasma level of platelet factor 4 and beta thromboglobulin are increased. Okay, associated with early onset bone marrow fibrosis is also seen. And the usual cause of this is the mutation of your gene NBEL2 gene, okay, specifically in chromosome 3, long arms 21, 31. Okay? Treatment, platelet transfusion. Bakit platelet transfusion? Kasi dysfunctional yung platelet mo. And you could utilize also desmopressin or your DDAP. So, ayan. You can see, ito yung platelet natin na medyo grayish in appearance. And almost kasing laki niya na yung RBC. Okay. So, next is we do have the combined disorder for alpha and dense granule deficiency or alpha dense storage pool deficiency. So, both alpha and dense granules are affected and the symptoms is moderate bleeding tendency. Usually, this is autosomal dominant. So, anong manifestation ito? Combined with your alpha granule deficiency and dense granule deficiency. Next is Quebec platelet disorder. This is deficiency of multimarine, wherein this is stored in your alpha granules. Okay. Symptoms, variable bleeding tendency, and inheritance pattern is autosomal dominant. This is first identified in Quebec, kaya Quebec platelet disorder. Okay? Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome, your WAS, gene mutation on chromosome 8 X. Okay? So, chromosome X, long arms 11 and 1123 affecting your actin cytoskeleton remodeling. So, anong meron dyan? It would manifest of its classical triad. So, kailangan meron kang eczema, severe eczema, thrombocytopenia with small platelet. So, kung kanina mga large platelet, ngayon, small platelet when it comes to WAS or microthrombocytes, and even immunodeficiency due to, okay, that could cause recurrent infection. Okay? So how do we diagnose this? Usually we could see yan, small platelets with decreased dense granules. Okay? Impaired platelet aggregation is similar to your storage pool disease. And treatment usually we could use splenectomy. Improves thrombocytopenia. Bakit nagkakaroon ng thrombocytopenia? Again, abnormal looking ang kanyang platelet which is small. That's why it is being removed in the circulation. We could utilize platelet transfusion for bleeding tendencies and bone marrow transplantation in severe cases. Next, your thrombocytopenia with absent radius or RADI. Okay? So that are syndrome. So radial bone aplasia and thrombocytopenia. So again, our hemostasis happens in the long bones and your radius is considered to be a long bone. So this would manifest as a skeletal abnormality, cardiac defect, and even bleeding. Okay? How do we diagnose? No, there would be absent of the radial bone on X-ray. Okay, structural defect in platelet granules and abnormal platelet aggregation. Usually the inheritance is autosomal recessive. Okay, disorder of platelet secretion, the thromboxane pathway disorder. So we could see thromboxane pathway disorder, your aspirin-like defect, wherein enzymes involved in thromboxane A2 synthesis, which is essential for platelet secretion, is absent. Okay? Symptoms, usually mild bleeding, easy bruising can be seen, and we could see similar to aspirin-induced platelet dysfunction, there would be impaired aggregation with your agonists such as your epinephrine, ADP, and collagen, and normal platelet structure and granulation. So yung function yung nagkakaroon ng problem when it's come to thromboxane pathway disorder. So we do have types of this disorder, such as your cyclooxygenase. Of course, it blocks your thromboxane A2. Pag thromboxane synthase, conversion of your prostaglandin to your thromboxane. And your thromboxane receptor, the thromboxane produced but cannot activate the platelet. Okay? Nagkakaroon ng problem sa activation ng platelet. So this is a summary, table summary of your disorders. Yan, kung ano yung affected component, key symptoms, and genetics. Next, other inherited disorder of receptor and signaling pathway. So we do have the collagen receptor deficiency, adenosine diphosphate receptor defects, okay? Receptor defects of your alpha-2 androgens receptor, your PAR, calcium mobilization defects, Scott syndrome, and your Stormer-Kent syndrome. So for your collagen receptor deficiencies, collagen is crucial for platelet adhesion and activation. So your GP1A, 2A, or your integrin deficiency, okay, the platelet adhesion to collagen is dysfunction. And symptoms, usually lifelong mild bleeding disorder. Kasi nga, adhesion lang naman yung naging problem natin. Okay? Diagnostic clues, impaired aggregation and adhesion to collagen. Okay, bakit collagen? Kasi nga collagen receptor lang yung problem mo. Okay, sa collagen lang siya nagkakaroon ng problem with aggregation. Okay, as an agonist. Next is your GP6 deficiency. Your GP6 deficiency, usually mild bleeding disorder. Okay, diagnostic clue, platelet fail to aggregate in response to collagen as a new agonist. Okay, platelet adhesion to collagen is impaired and some cases associated with gray platelet syndrome by severe GP6 deficiency. Next, adenosine diphosphate receptor defects. Okay, your ADP is a key activator of your platelet, okay, binding to 3 receptors such as your P2X1 deficiency, your P2Y1, and your P2Y21 deficiency. So your P2X1 deficiency, calcium ion influx in response to ADP is impaired and symptoms usually wala masyadong symptoms. Okay? On your P2Y1 deficiency, the platelet shape change in calcium mobilization and no cases seen in humans. While your P2Y12 aggregation in response to ADP is impaired and could manifest with mild bleeding disorder. So what is the diagnostic clue? There would be decreased aggregation in response to ADP as an agonist, normal platelet shape and calcium mobilization, and the treatment is usually platelet transfusion for severe bleeding only. Next, other receptor defects such as your receptors that mediate your platelet activation and aggregation, such as your alpha-2 androgenic or your epinephrine receptor deficiency. On this one, okay, platelet response to epinephrine is impaired. Okay, the symptoms usually manifest as a decreased platelet activation and aggregation in response to epinephrine as an agonist. Okay, okay, diagnostic clue, impaired aggregation with epinephrine. Next is your PAR, receptor deficiency. Your protease-activated receptors, which mediate the thrombin-induced platelet activation, is impaired. And the symptoms, okay, reported only in one family. So, wala pa sa iba. Next is calcium mobilization defect. So, this disorder affects platelet signaling mechanism pathway, leading to secretion, okay, normal thromboxane pathway, but insufficient calcium release, okay, to the platelet store. And symptoms usually impaired platelet secretion causing, okay, that is usually caused by abnormal glycoprotein subunit and defective phospholipase C isoenzyme. Next, this is Scott syndrome, a rare autosomal recessive disorder affecting your phospholipid movement in platelets, your phosphatidylserine cleaving in platelet membranes, okay, Symptoms usually bleeding disorder due to defective clotting factors, okay, assembly. And the mechanism is platelet fail to expose your phosphatidylserine and ethanolamine on their outer membrane. Okay? Okay, so during that time, there would be prevention of binding of your vitamin K dependent clotting factors. Okay, diagnostic clues, normal platelet aggregation and secretion, and defective thrombin generation. Treatment, supportive therapy. Storm-Morken syndrome. No, this is a rare autosomal dominant disorder with constant platelet activation. So the platelets remain permanently activated. Okay, and mild symptoms of bleeding tendency is seen, thrombocytopenia, anemia, and functional asplenia is present. And the mechanism, the platelet continuously expresses phosphatidylserine without activation. Okay? Likely due to mutation of your amino phospholipid translocase. Again, this is a summary of your disorders. Next, drug-induced defect. So for the drug-induced defect, we do have your aspirin. So the mechanism of action of your aspirin is it inhibits your cyclooxygenase or your COX-1, preventing the formation of your thromboxane A2, which is a key platelet activator. So the effect is irreversibly inhibits platelet function for about 7 to 10 days due to inability to platelets to synthesize new FOX1. Kaya nga we need to stop your medication for about 1 week before you will be tested for um hemostatic function if ever that your aspirin is not prescribed. Okay. Other consideration, so low dose aspirin is often preferred for cardiovascular protection, but because it is selectively inhibits thromboxane production, while endothelium cells can recover prostacyclin production, which has an anti-platelet effect. Next, other cyclooxygenase inhibitors, we could have your NSAIDs or your non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as your ibuprofen, ketoprofen, naproxen, and others. So the mechanism, this reversibly inhibits. So kanina irreversibly, ito reversibly inhibits your COX and has less effect on the platelet function compared to aspirin. However, they can still have mild effect on your platelet aggregation. Okay, kasi ang COX na ini-inhibit niya dito, usually the COX-2, not the COX-1. Okay? On your P2Y12 receptor inhibitors, okay, we could have your clopidogrel, plasogrel, tegakloror, and cangrelor. Ito yung mga usual na sinasabi na mga reseta ng mga matatanda na pampalabnaw ng dugo. Okay? This drug inhibits your P2Y12 receptor on platelets, preventing your ADP-induced platelet aggregation. So, pinaprevent nito yung thrombosis. Okay? Effects inhibits platelet activation and aggregation induced by your ADP and other agonists. So, pharmacogenetics, your clopidogrel is a prodrug activating your CP2, C19, which efficacy varying based on individual genetic variation. And some patients are resistant to clopidogrel due to poor metabolism. And on your tegakloror, okay, a non-pro drug that usually reversible, a reversible inhibitor that does not require activation and with shorter half-life compared to your clopidogrel and prasugrel. Your GP2B3A inhibitors, okay, such as your abcizimab, okay, tirofiban, and your FTP-batide, okay. The mechanism is this drug blocks your GP2 to B3A receptors, preventing the fibrinogen from binding and inhibiting platelet aggregation. Okay? And uses primarily in the patient undergoing percutaneous coronary intervention. Next is your um, PAR-1 antagonist. So your Bapo, Bara Parax, Parapaxar, okay, blocks the thrombin-induced platelet aggregation via PAR-1 receptor and okay, secondary prevention of your thrombotic events, that though not recommended for patient with history of stroke and other miscellaneous agent that usually has a drug-induced effect. Okay. Your dipyridamole, okay, inhibits platelet phosphodiester, increasing your CAMP level and reducing platelet function, often used with aspirin for stroke. Antibiotics such as your penicillin and cephalosporin can also cause interference to your platelet function, specifically on high dose. Your plasma expander. Okay, the drugs such as your dextrans, hydroethyl starch can impair platelet function, though they do not significantly increase the risk for clinical bleeding. So ito yung mga parts na na-affect nila, okay, on your platelet. Okay, kung anong drug yung responsible for that. Clinical consideration. So, for drug interactions, some drug like ibuprofen can interfere with aspirin's antiplatelet effect if taken too close to each other. And individual response variability. Effectiveness of antiplatelet therapy can vary between patients due to genetic difference in drug metabolism, particularly such as with your clopidogrel. For testing, tools such as your Verify Now system can use to monitor patient response to antiplatelet medication. So this is an automated platelet aggregometry. So ayan yung mga ini-inhibit nila. Okay. Next is disorder that affects the platelet function. Okay. Your myeloproliferative neoplasms. Okay. So we already discussed this on your leukocyte disorder. So disorders such as your polycythemia vera, a chronic myelogenous leukemia, essential thrombocythemia, myelofibrosis can cause platelet dysfunction, and this condition may lead to both hemorrhage and thrombosis with abnormal platelet shape, okay, decreased procoagulant activity and impaired secretion as common issue. So platelets in this condition may also show reduced aggregation and secretion in response to your agonist. Okay? Specifically with epinephrine, ADP, and collagen. And then your thrombosis can occur unusual areas such as your mesenteric or portal circulation and digital artery thrombosis. It's very unlikely, no? And your multiple myeloma and Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia, okay? The platelet dysfunction is seen approximately 1/3 of the patient, medyo malaki, likely due to the paraproteins interacting with your platelet. Your thrombocytopenia is most common cause of bleeding, though other complication like your hyperviscosity syndrome and amyloidosis may contribute to your bleeding disorder. Next, your cardiopulmonary bypass surgery. So, platelet function is severely impaired during heart-lung machine use in cardiac surgery, leading to bleeding risk. And platelet activation and fragmentation occurs in the extracorporeal uh, circuit, causing platelet dysfunction post-surgery. Okay? And then the severity of dysfunction correlates with the of dysfunction with the duration on bypass circuit, but platelet function typically recovers within 1 hour after surgery. Okay? So for liver disease, chronic liver disease can lead to thrombocytopenia. Okay? Um, Platelet dysfunction, including abnormal aggregation and adhesion. Even alcohol cirrhosis can have direct toxic effects on platelets and bone marrow, causing impaired function. Treatment with desmopressin acetate may improve platelet function through the benefit in preventing bleeding uncertain. Okay? So for uremia, it is associated with platelet dysfunction, often caused by the presence of your guanidinosuccinic acid that inhibits platelet activation. And dialysis can help correct this function by removing your guanidinosuccinic acid from the bloodstream, and concurrent use of drugs that affects platelet function or heparin in dialysis increases the risk or the bleeding risk. The hereditary afibrinogenemia, a rare disorder which the absence of your fibrinogen leads to platelet function. Okay, abnormal platelet function, and affected individual often experience significant bleeding, and cryoprecipitate or fibrinogen concentrate are used for treatment. So for hypercoagulable platelets, so this refers to the platelet that exhibits increased reactivity and aggregation, often leading to the increase of your thrombosis. And, okay, this condition is associated with various disorder such as, okay, hyperlipidemia, diabetes mellitus, peripheral arterial occlusive disease, okay, acute arterial occlusion, myocardial infarction, and even your stroke. So for the sticky platelet syndrome, okay, this is an autosomal dominant, okay, thrombophilic disorder, which means it has genetic basis and an increased risk for blood clot formation, okay, in both veins and arteries. It is characterized by hypercoagulable platelet, thus that respond, okay, exclusively to your adenosine diphosphate, okay, or and even epinephrine or both. So for the patients, okay, the venous and or arterial thrombosis may occur, often triggered by your emotional stress. Okay, so prophylactic treatment with low dose aspirin can be found to reverse clinical symptoms by normalizing the excessive platelet aggregation observed in your laboratory test. Next is your spontaneous aggregation. For this one, okay, it refers to the platelet aggregation occurs in the laboratory when platelets are simply stirred without the addition of any external aggregating agent. And this is a sign of abnormally increased platelet reactivity and is often associated with heightened sensitivity to other platelet activating substance. Okay? The presence of spontaneous aggregation suggests that the patient may have hypercoagulable state, increasing risk of thrombosis, especially in arteries. Okay. For the clinical implication, so the patient with hypercoagulable platelets, these are there is an increased likelihood of your arterial thrombosis, which makes the use of your antiplatelet agents such as aspirin important for the treatment and prevention. And in summary, your hypercoagulable platelets are a key factor in disorder with increased thrombotic risk, and the use of antiplatelet therapy can indicate to reduce the risk of clot formation. Next is your other causes of platelet function defects, such as your acquired platelet dysfunction defect, can occur in various conditions and their pathophysiology may vary. So, first is autoimmune disorder. So the patient with autoimmune disorder can experience platelet function defect. Condition that may cause include the following: your SLE or your systemic lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, and thrombocytopenic purpura. So since this is an immune disorder, your body attacks your own. So you produce antibodies in response to your platelet. Okay. Next is your fibrin degradation products. So for your purified fibrin degradation products or your FDPs, can cause platelet dysfunction when tested in vitro. Okay. However, the concentration of your FDPs needed to affect platelets are unlikely to reach the level required to cause dysfunction in vivo. Okay. So the pathophysiologic relevance in this finding remains uncertain, but meaning it isn't clear if it's a major contributing factor for platelet dysfunction in a clinical situation. Because nga, sabi natin, in vitro lang yung pwedeng cause ng FDP for your platelet dysfunction. Next is your vascular, disseminated intravascular disorder or coagulation or your DIC. So the DIC, the platelet function can be reduced due to in vivo stimulation of thrombin and other agonists and leading to the release of granule content from platelet. So this is often referred as acquired storage pool disease. And your DIC, okay, platelet granules which contain substance important for clotting and platelet activation are exhausted. So very ginagamit siya ng platelet and to excessive activation that leads to dysfunction of your platelet. So excessive bleeding and excessive clotting ang meron kay DIC. This is sometimes called as your exhausted platelets kasi nga sobrang ginagamit niya yung platelet, meaning the platelets are depleted of the essential substances necessary for their normal function, okay, impairing the platelet function. Last part is your vascular disorders. For your vascular disorders, involve conditions affecting the blood vessel and their supporting tissue, often leading to abnormal bleeding or bruising. Okay. Okay. Vascular disorder involving the condition affecting the blood vessel and their supporting tissues, okay, often leading to abnormal bleeding or bruising. So this disorder may be inherited or acquired with different pathophysiological mechanisms. So what is the problem here? The problem is your vasculature, so the blood vessel, not the platelet itself. Okay, so we do have your first is hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia or also known as Rendu-Osler-Weber syndrome. So on this one, okay, inheritance is autosomal dominant and characterized by thin-walled blood vessel and discontinuous endothelium and inadequate muscle, smooth muscle and absence of elastin. So again, on your introduction to hemostasis earlier, we mentioned that elastin is very important as to your blood vessel. And this result in a fragile blood vessel because there is no elasticity. Masyadong fragile, madaling masira. Especially in areas such as your face, lips, tongue, and even in mucosal surfaces. So the clinical picture, usually they present with epistaxis or mucocutaneous bleeding. Okay, often seen with easy bruising and worsen as the patient ages. So the condition is progressive with telangiectasia being prone to rupture. So if you would the telangiectasia, this is a spider web. Parang the okay, the blood vessel is burst into spider structure. Parang pumutok yung blood vessel mo na nagkukos na mukha siyang spider. Okay? Diagnosis based on characteristic, skin and mucosal lesion, family history and recurrent bleeding. Okay, management, there could be prophylactic, okay, measures and symptomatic relief are typically low dose aspirin and some can sometimes help. Okay. Next is your hemangioma, thrombocytopenia syndrome, or your Kasabak-Merritt syndrome. So this is rare condition involving giant cavernous hemangiomas. Okay, thrombocytopenias, including the bleeding tendency, and it is usually associated with your DIC. And platelet sequestration in hemangiomas. So clinical feature, the hemangioma may resemble hematoma and complication may include microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. So the treatment option usually it could be treated by corticosteroid and surgery. The mortality rate could be approximately around 30%. For your Ehlers-Danlos, okay, inheritance can be autosomal dominant, recessive, or even X-linked. Okay, clinical features, no, extensible skin, hypermobile joints, okay, fragile tissue, and bleeding tendency or subcutaneous hematomas can be seen. Okay, pathophysiology, there would be a defect in collagen production or structure in the tissue, leading to fragility and even bleeding. So the treatment, usually supportive treatment. Okay, kung ano lang yung nangyayari. So if there is bleeding episode, kung ano yung symptoms, bigay ka lang ng gamot such as tranexamic acid. Okay? Yan. Other condition, we could have your pseudosantoma elasticum, homocystinuria, Marfan syndrome, and even osteogenesis imperfecta. So for pseudosantoma elasticum, K inheritance is autosomal recessive. K the PXE is characterized by progressive calcification, okay, and fragmentation of elastic fiber in the skin, eyes, and even the blood vessel. Okay, that would lead to the skin and vascular abnormalities affecting the integrity of the blood vessel, causing, okay, fragile veins also. Okay, that is prone to bleeding and rupture. And the clinical features, there would be skin changes. It could manifest yellow, wrinkled, lax skin, particularly on your neck, axilla, or even in your growing. Okay. In your vascular change, there would be stiffening of blood vessel due to calcification. No? Titigas yung mga blood vessels nyo. Increasing the risk of your vascular events such as your arterial rupture or aneurysm. On your ocular involvement, there could be angioid streaks in the retina, which are lines or breakage of the retina that can lead to vision problems. And on your cardiovascular issues, there would be increased risk of hypertension and peripheral artery disease due to compromised blood vessel elasticity. The management, there is no cure, okay? But treatment focuses on managing the complications, so more on supportive treatment, okay? Such as for cardiovascular problems. For regular eye exam, okay, the monitoring of vascular health is critical, and gene therapy and targeted treatment are being researched for potential future application due to, again, there is no cure for this disorder. For homocystinuria, inheritance is autosomal recessive. Okay, is caused by mutation in CBS or cystathionine beta synthase, okay, gene, leading to an accumulation of homocysteine amino acid and even elevated homocysteine. Okay, cause damage to blood vessel and connective tissue, which can lead to vascular and thrombotic complication. So the clinical features that can be seen on this disorder, usually vascular complications, okay, early development of arterial and venous thromboembolism, including deep vein thrombosis. Okay. Um, Connective tissue abnormalities such as similar to your Marfan syndrome, homocystinuria that could lead to lens dislocation, and even osteoporosis and joint hypermobility. So halos same siya with Marfan syndrome. Okay? Developmental delay, there would be neurological deficits, okay, including learning difficulties, seizure, and even psychiatric issue can occur on the patient. The management treatment typically involves high dose um, of your vitamin 6, folate, and betaine supplementation to reduce homocysteine levels, and anticoagulation therapy may be necessary to manage thrombotic risk, and regular monitoring of homocysteine levels are and cardiovascular health is crucial. For Marfan syndrome, okay, inheritance is autosomal dominant. Okay, the mutation is present in your FBN1 gene that encodes for your fibrillin. Okay, this is a protein that contributes to the elasticity and strength of your connective tissue. And defects could lead to weakened connective tissue affecting multiple organs, specifically your cardiovascular system or your blood vessels. For your skeletal abnormalities, you could see, okay, stall stature, long limbs, arachnodactyly or long thin fingers, scoliosis, and even hypermobile joints. For cardiovascular, you could see aortic aneurysm, okay, and dissection after life-threatening complication due to weakened aortic walls. For ocular issues, you could see ectopia lentis, okay, dislocation of your lens. So matatanggal yung lens mo inside your eyes. And myopia, or you could see nearsightedness. Okay, vascular involvement, usually due to the lack of proper connective tissue, blood vessel, particularly the aorta, that are prone to dilation, rupture, and even aneurysm formation. So for the management, regular cardiovascular monitoring, particularly your aorta. Okay? And essential to detect aneurysm and prevent aortic dissection. Beta blockers and angiotensin receptor blockers can be used to reduce aortic dilation, and surgery may be required if there is aortic dilation or valve issue. Next is osteogenesis imperfecta. So inheritance is autosomal dominant or recessive depending on the type. Okay. On your osteogenesis imperfecta, usually the mutation is seen in your COL1A1 and your COL1A2 genes, okay, that affect the production of your collagen. Okay. Collagen, which is a major structural component of your bones and connective tissue that leads to, again, fragile bones, frequent fractures, and other connective tissue abnormalities. So, for clinical features, okay, fractures are frequent and often occurring with minimal trauma due to brittle bone. Okay, could also present with blue sclera. Okay, white of the eye may appear blue due to thinness of the collagen in the sclera. Okay, you could also manifest with hearing loss. Okay, due to abnormality to the bones of your inner ears, and vascular issues, okay, for your bone fragility, and some forms of your osteogenesis imperfecta can involve blood vessels, bruising. So this is known as your breaking bone disease. Okay? Kasi madaling mabali yung mga buto nila, kahit hawakan mo lang, pindutin mo lang, mababali na agad. Okay? Management. Okay? Treatment focuses on fracture prevention, bone strengthening medications such as your biphosphonates, and physical therapy to enhance mobility. So regular eye exam and hearing evaluation are recommended to the patient. Next is your Alport syndrome. For your Alport syndrome, this is an X-linked, most common, autosomal recessive or autosomal dominant. The pathophysiology, mutation on your call for a 5 gene. Okay, that is still okay, in relation to your collagen type 4. Okay, which is a key structural component of the basement membranes in the kidney, eyes, and ears. And this leads to progressive renal failure, hearing loss, and even ocular abnormalities. So, the clinical features of this disease, you could have renal involvement, you could have progressive glomerulonephritis leading to kidney failure. Okay, ocular abnormalities, anterior lenticus, lenticonus, okay, leading to vision impairment and even hearing loss. So management, of course, symptomatology management, so early detection of critical kidney function, okay. Angiotensin converting enzyme can be used for your management of proteinuria and protect the kidney function, and dialysis if the kidney is already um, in the end stage. Right. Next is your allergic purpura or your Hinox collagen purpura. So, pathophysiology often triggered by your IgA-mediated vasculitis. So, immune-mediated, okay, causing purpura or skin rash, edema, and involvement of multiple organs such as your skin, joint, kidneys, and even the GI tract. So you will notice, okay, palpable purpura or raised lesions, okay, often on the lower extremities accompanied by abdominal pain, arthritis, and renal involvement, causing your proteinuria and hematuria. Okay. For the treatment, symptomatic management, okay, such as corticosteroids for symptom relief and monitoring renal function. Most cases resolve without treatment through relapse, and though relapses are common. Okay. Next is your paraproteinemia and amyloidosis, or your platelet dysfunction, myeloma proteins, okay, or paraproteins can interfere with your platelet function, leading to bleeding in amyloidosis, abnormal amyloid proteins deposit in blood vessels, and tissue affecting platelet function. So the clinical features of this is platelet aggregation and secretion, abnormalities, and even increased bleeding tendency with possible thrombosis. So bakit nagkakaroon ng ganun? Since the protein can cause hypercoagulable disease also. And management, you could have plasma exchange to remove your excess paraproteins or proteins. And long-term treatment involves chemotherapy and to address the underlying plasma cell malignancy. Next is senile purpura. So the pathophysiology of this one is the loss of collagen, support for blood vessel in elderly, and kaya nga senile, this is only seen in adult patients, specifically the geriatrics, and leading to fragile capillaries and spontaneous bruising. And clinical features, non-blanching purpura. There could be manifested as purple or dark blotch. Okay. Usually on the forearms and hands. Okay. Lesions resolve slowly but may leave brown stains on the skin known as your age spots. Management, no treatment aside from prevention of further trauma. Okay. Lastly is your drug-induced vascular purpura. Okay, the pathophysiology, certain medications such as your aspirin, warfarin, sulfonamides can cause vascular purpura by altering the vascular wall or causing immune responses against vessels component. Okay, so clinical features, lesion may vary from petechate to large purpuric eruption associated with good platelet function, and the treatment, discontinuation of the offending drug is the primary intervention. So tatanggalin mo yung ini. Okay, so that's all for your qualitative platelet disorder.